This.
Oh my God!
Those are their weapons.
Oh my gosh!
And these men will probably get a shot at the champ and run.
This video is not for everyone. If you thought the knockouts in our last video were tough, get ready for even more brutal ones.
A chance and risk getting knocked out! Anderson.
In this part, we're showing some of the hardest and most violent knockouts in UFC history. These knockouts didn't just drop fighters. They left fans wondering how much a person can handle. Ready to see it? Let's begin. If you love the thrill and high-energy moments of UFC, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with anyone who enjoys the intensity of the Octagon. Roy Nelson's one-punch knockout. Let's start with Roy Big Country Nelson, known for his huge right hand that can end fights in an instant. He faced Stefan Struve, a towering 7-foot fighter, at UFC Fight Night 21.
Watch it one more time. Bam! He throws from his heel.
Struve had the advantage of reach and height, using his long legs and jabs to keep Nelson at a distance for most of the fight. But Nelson was patient, waiting for his chance to land that one big punch. In the first round, as Struve threw a kick, Nelson slipped past it and launched his powerful overhand right. The punch landed square on Struve's chin, and it was like watching a tree fall. Struve's legs buckled instantly, and he collapsed to the mat, completely unconscious. The referee rushed in to stop the fight, but Struve was already out cold before he hit the ground. Nelson's punch echoed through the arena, leaving the crowd in shock at how fast the fight turned. His knockout was a perfect example of timing and power, showing that size doesn't matter when you've got a punch like that. It was a classic one-punch KO, and fans still talk about it today. Mark Hunt's walk-off knockout. If there's one fighter who can end a fight with just one punch, it's Mark Hunt. Known as the Super Samoan, Hunt is famous for his walk-off knockouts. He lands one big punch and then calmly walks away, knowing the fight is over. No need for extra punches. One of Hunt's most memorable knockouts happened at UFC Fight Night 85, when he faced Frank Mir, a former heavyweight champion. The fight started with both men testing each other, but Hunt was just waiting for the right moment. In the first round, as Mir tried to close the distance, Hunt threw a powerful right hand that landed clean on Mir's chin. The impact was so hard that Mir fell straight to the mat, unconscious. What makes Hunt different is his confidence. As soon as he landed the punch, he didn't even wait for the referee. He just turned and walked away. He knew the fight was over, and the referee quickly stepped in to stop it. It was classic Mark Hunt. Cool, calm, and destructive. The crowd went wild watching another one of his famous walk-off knockouts. Dan Henderson's knockout of Michael Bisping. We can't talk about brutal knockouts without mentioning Dan Henderson's famous KO of Michael Bisping at UFC 100. This wasn't just a regular knockout, it was personal. Henderson and Bisping didn't like each other, and it showed in the fight. In the second round, Henderson threw his famous right hand, known as the H-bomb, and it landed perfectly on Bisping's chin. Bisping went down instantly, completely unconscious before he even hit the ground. But Henderson didn't stop there. He jumped and delivered a flying forearm to Bisping's already knocked-out body, making the KO even more brutal. It was a powerful statement that shocked everyone watching. The crowd went wild, and this knockout became one of the most talked-about moments in UFC history. The rivalry between Henderson and Bisping made the knockout even more intense, and fans couldn't believe the level of violence. Anderson Silva's front kick KO. Anderson the Spider Silva is famous for his skill and perfect timing, and he showed both at UFC 126 when he knocked out Vitor Belfort with a front kick.
Second to none.
Silva looked calm and focused as he stood in front of Belfort, waiting for the right moment. Then, out of nowhere, Silva threw a quick front kick that hit Belfort right under the chin. The kick snapped Belfort's head back, and he fell to the floor instantly. knocked out cold. It was a move rarely seen in MMA, and Silva's perfect execution left everyone shocked. Fans couldn't believe what they had just seen. The knockout happened so fast that it left the crowd in Belfort speechless. Matt Brown's elbow knockout. Let's talk about one of the most brutal elbow knockouts in UFC history, delivered by none other than Matt the Immortal Brown. Known for his toughness and relentless style, Brown faced Diego Sanchez at UFC Fight Night 120. Fans were expecting a war, but Brown ended the fight in brutal fashion with a single, perfectly timed elbow.
Look at this elbow. He winds up. That's just classic Matt Brown right there.
In the first round, as Sanchez tried to push forward, Brown unleashed a spinning elbow that landed directly on Sanchez's head. The impact was instant. Sanchez fell to the ground, completely unconscious. The fight was over in a second, and Brown didn't even need to throw another punch. It was the kind of knockout that leaves the audience stunned, watching the replay over and over. What made this knockout so impressive was the technique and precision behind it. Elbows are dangerous weapons in MMA, and Brown showed just how deadly they can be when used right. It wasn't just raw power, but smart timing, making this one of the best knockouts of his career. Derek Lewis's comeback KO. We can't talk about epic knockouts without mentioning Derek the Black Beast Lewis and his incredible comeback knockout at UFC 229. Facing Alexander Volkov, Lewis was losing the fight for almost the entire 3 rounds. Volkov had controlled the match with his strikes and was seconds away from winning by decision. But Lewis had other plans. In the final 10 seconds of the 3rd round, just when it seemed like the fight was over, Lewis threw a huge right hand that landed perfectly on Volkov's chin. Volkov dropped to the mat instantly, knocked out cold. The crowd went absolutely wild. Lewis, exhausted and barely able to stand, had pulled off one of the greatest comeback knockouts in UFC history. What made this knockout even more memorable was Lewis's funny post-fight interview, where he famously said, "My balls was hot," making the moment even more iconic.
My balls was hot.
It was a knockout that not only showed Lewis's incredible power, but also his heart and determination to never give up, no matter how bad things looked. Chris Weidman's KO of Anderson Silva. Next, we have one of the most shocking moments in UFC history. Chris Weidman's knockout of Anderson Silva at UFC 162 on July 6, 2013. Silva was the reigning champion and considered one of the greatest fighters of all time, but Weidman had something to prove. In the 2nd round, Silva began taunting Weidman, moving around the octagon with his hands down, inviting Weidman to strike. But Weidman stayed calm and focused. Suddenly, Silva threw a wild leg kick, and as he did, Weidman delivered a perfectly timed left hook that landed squarely on Silva's chin.
Anderson. Oh, he got hit!
Silva went down immediately, knocked out cold, and the crowd went silent in disbelief. Weidman's knockout was more than just a win, it was a statement that he had arrived at the top of the sport. He not only ended Silva's reign, but also shocked the world, as many thought no one could defeat the legendary champion. Edson Barboza's knockout of Gilbert Melendez. Let's look at Edson Barboza's incredible knockout of Gilbert Melendez at UFC 157 on February 23, 2013. This fight was part of an exciting card and showcased Barboza's stunning striking skills. In the 3rd round, Barboza landed one of the most spectacular knockouts in UFC history with a spinning wheel kick. As Melendez charged forward, Barboza pivoted and delivered a perfectly timed kick that connected flush with Melendez's head. The impact was so severe that Melendez collapsed instantly, unable to defend himself as he hit the mat. Barboza's knockout not only earned him a Performance of the Night bonus, but also highlighted his reputation as one of the most dangerous strikers in the lightweight division. The crowd erupted as they witnessed this incredible display of skill and power. and it remains one of the most talked about knockouts to this day. Junior Dos Santos' KO of Cain Velasquez. Let's wrap up this video with a legendary knockout that fans still talk about. Junior Cigano Dos Santos versus Cain Velasquez at UFC on Fox 1, which took place on November 12, 2011. This fight was for the UFC Heavyweight Championship, and it didn't disappoint. Dos Santos came into the fight with a reputation for having powerful hands, and he proved it right away. Just over a minute into the first round, Dos Santos landed a clean right hook that connected perfectly with Velasquez's jaw. Velasquez, who was known for his wrestling and toughness, was caught off guard, and he immediately fell to the canvas.
Takes him down. Drags him to the ground.
As Velasquez struggled to get back up, Dos Santos followed up with a series of heavy punches that forced the referee, Mike Beltran, to step in and stop the fight. The knockout was fast, explosive, and showcased Dos Santos' incredible striking ability. The crowd erupted as he became the new heavyweight champion, ending Velasquez's reign in just over a minute. This knockout was not just a big moment for Dos Santos, but also a reminder of how quickly things can change in the Octagon. If you loved this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more intense UFC moments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for even more jaw-dropping knockouts and thrilling fight stories.